You guys, thank God we have Jenna Clyde here doing Sierra's hair today.
Alright y'all, so let's go ahead and dive right into it. This is Sierra's before, and today we're just going to be focusing on the power of a glazing maintenance, because I feel like just coming in for a toning service is kind of underrated because it can make such a difference just to refresh things. So here's our before. She has extensions in as well, so we're going to be giving her a move up and a toning service today. So starting off, I'm going with my go-to Goldwell colorants, and I'm doing 6A and 7N just equal parts. Now, it might be a little confusing why I'm doing 6A since it is 6 ash, but just to let you know, anytime that I've ever used 6N in Goldwell, I always run from it because I made the mistake of using 6N one time on someone drew, and 6N in Goldwell just looks so red. So that's why I like to use 6A, because it's more of a 6N in my opinion than actually 6N in Goldwell. So we're going to be mixing that up. Also, Goldwell has a lot more coverage to it, and what I mean by that is it's going to be not as transparent and as opaque as Shades EQ, and she's really wanting to drag her root down, so we're going to be rooting her a little bit more than she already has, and then toning her ends just to go ahead and refresh everything. And I think you're going to be really surprised at the actual difference that we're going to be getting from this service. So we're going to mix that up, and I'm actually going to be applying it on dry hair. The reason I'm applying it on dry hair is because I really want it to take almost like a root color, but using a toner instead of a permanent color or a demi-permanent is just going to ensure that when she goes to lighten her hair again, when it's time to refresh it, it's not going to be so hard to bust through. We're going to go ahead and section her off, and we're going to be doing that in 4 quadrants. So just straight down the middle from where she parts, and then for everything from the ears forward, and then I've got her bangs parted off. I like to do this and call it a bang box. I've called it a bang box since I was in school, and it's nice to do anytime you're doing a money piece or trying to keep those ends brighter. So we're basically going to be sectioning off those just to ensure that we don't accidentally put color on those. It's a nice way to stay clean and organized, and then also as well we can go through and tone those at the end, and since they're sectioned off, I already know where that color is going to need to go at. The way I like to do my roots or anything like that is I always start with the perimeter, and I'm basically going to just be dragging this down past where her highlights have grown out to. So I'm going to fully saturate all of her regrowth, and then I'm going to be going through and just dragging it down a little bit more. I also left a little bit of her hairline out right here close to her temple just to keep that as bright as well. So as I'm dragging this down, I'm just going in small sections, just like a root retouch, just like you're doing any kind of rooting at the bowl or anything like that. I just want to make sure that everything is saturated so I get a nice and clean and even perfect blend, and we're just going to be going through with that process as of right now. I'm also tag teaming this with my girl Jenna. Now Sierra here is our receptionist, and she is honestly the best thing that's ever happened to us. She's always there to help us out. She's always there to make sure our clients are on time. If they're not on time, she's already got them on the phone saying, hey, where the heck you at, girl? She's there for us, and she does so much, so she really deserves this makeover. And as far as Jenna goes, she is also an educator with us. She's an amazing stylist. She's actually been at JESSI for forever. JESSI actually taught her in hair school, so she's been with JESSI since the very get-go. Just a little fun fact. So I'm going to leave her Instagram here, so you guys make sure you check her out because her page is amazing and she's such a talented hairstylist. After I've fully saturated each quadrant, I'm going through with our JESSI Styles blending comb. This thing has saved my life plenty of times because it is the perfect tool that you need whenever it comes to getting that perfect blend. It's more of in between a super wide tooth comb and just a regular comb. It's the perfect comb to go ahead and to blend any root that you do. The reason that I love it so much is one, because it's super affordable, and then also it's just nice to have on hand anytime you're doing a root at the bowl or even at the chair like this. It's always my go-to. I always say that you can look at someone's hair and say, oh my god, that looks chunky, but you never look at someone's hair and say, oh my god, her hair is way too blended. So I really do go through with this, comb it down as far as it'll go. If you're scared the color is going to drag down too far, you could go ahead and put some kind of barrier on their mids to ends or wherever you don't want that color to go. I don't feel like dry hair you can get those little splotchy marks or anything like that, because if you do see it, you can wipe it off instantly. Mainly that's with wet hair, but even if you are doing a process like this today, feel free to go ahead and saturate her mids to ends with an Olaplex treatment or any kind of treatment that's your go-to, because that's going to not only give them a treatment, but it's also going to act as that barrier so you don't drag your root down too far. As far as what Jenna's doing in the back, she's doing the exact same thing, but she's bringing it down just quite slightly lower. and then you'll see that I'm going on a diagonal. So Jenna doing that a little bit lower than I'm going, and then me doing my sections on a slight diagonal, I can go ahead and make sure that she almost has that teardrop effect where it looks more like a balayage instead of she's super rooted. And then us going through right here and toning those money pieces very last, what that's going to do is ensure that those hairline pieces stay super bright. So we let the base, everything that we did at the chair, which is going to be everything with those 4 quadrants and the hairline and the money piece left out, and we let that sit about 20 minutes. And then now we're just going through at the bowl, doing it on her root, letting it sit about 7 to 10 minutes, just watching it, eyeballing it, really just playing it off of our eye. And then what we're going to be doing is combing that through with our blending comb as well, and then we're just going to rinse her out and do her all over toner. Now that her root is completely rinsed out, Jenna's going to be going through and washing her one good time. I know that we've applied that root on there, but I'm not really worried about it coming off too much because Goldwell does have really good coverage to it, and we do want to make sure that all of the impurities are off of her hair, any kind of buildup that she has, by washing it so that all over toner really takes really well. As far as the toner goes, I actually did forget to freaking film it because I'm an idiot and the worst, but I will tell you what we use. So while Jenna's doing this, I'm in the back mixing it up. That's going to be the best part about tag teaming it as well, is because you can do so much. But what we're going through and using is Shades EQ 9M, 9P, and a little bit of 9V. Now the 9M is going to be our main dominant tone, and it is 9M, which is matte. And the best way I know how to describe this tone is all the M's by Shades EQ are just super sandy and like have a really good beachy feel to them, if that makes sense in a way. And I guess you can kind of see it in her after picture as well to get a better idea. And the 9P is blue and violet base, so it's going to be cutting out any warmth, any brassiness that she has. And since it is blue and violet base, it's cutting out that brass. It's going to be counteracting any yellow tones and orange tones that she has in her hair. And then the 9V is super strong. It can be a little bit scary. It is really easy to kind of overtone or have a super ashy look to it whenever you're using 9V. So since it is so strong, I just add a little bit of it. So our main tones are 9P and 9M, but then also a little bit of 9V to go ahead and give it that extra kick to go ahead and kick out any warm tones in her hair. One of my favorite things about using Shades EQ is its consistency, and the reason I say that is because it's almost like shampoo, so it's really easy to lather and saturate the hair with it. And whenever you're going through with any kind of toning service, saturation is key, just like with anything else when it comes to coloring hair. We just like to apply it all over. It's really easy to work with on wet hair, on dry hair as well. So we're just going through, really coating it in, playing with it, rubbing it in continuously, and then just watching it. There's not a set amount of time that you leave a mids and ends toner on. You just want to watch it and play it by eye. Whenever I first started assisting, I was like, I never want to tone anyone because it was the scariest part about the whole entire color service to me. So a good rule that someone told me, which is aka the Queen Jessie, she told me that whenever your toner starts to look scary, leave it on 1 extra minute and then rinse it. So that was a good way of me learning to trust the process, let it really soak into the hair, get in there, and then that's what I usually do for the most part. And now it's time to rinse and go in with her extensions. Jenna is carving out for her first horseshoe, and she's going to be doing the bead placement. Then I'll be stitching this one down, and then I'll do the bead placement on the second row. Whenever it comes to extensions, it's really important to make sure you're working on horseshoes because that angle is really working with the curvature of her head. As far as her extensions does go, she's using the cozy weft. It's the type of weft that we have in our line that is super unique to JESSI. It's a latex band at the top, which is kind of nice for, especially if you're trying to transition those clients from tape-ins to wefts. It kind of feels a lot similar, and honestly, it's just cozy. Seamless weft, so it doesn't have a mustache at the top, which come with hand-tied and machine wefts, so it's super comfortable for your clients, and honestly, it's just cozy, so that's why we call it that. If you ever have any clients that say, oh my god, my wefts are so itchy, it's most likely the mustache part that is itching them. Usually after a wash or two, it goes completely down and away, but if they are having issues with that, I would say go ahead and give cozy wefts a try. And that is it for this video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it for you guys. I hope you learned a thing or two about rooting and toning a blonde. Do not forget to like and subscribe to this video. Follow me over on Instagram, and I'll catch you on the next one.